Hey there guys, the prediction game videos continue for WrestleMania 30, this time with the 6-man tag team match we're going to see this Sunday. It is going to be Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns of The Shield versus Kane and the New Age Outlaws. Surprisingly, The Shield is still a unit. So, last year at WrestleMania they competed in another 6-man tag team match. It was The Shield versus Randy, Big Show, and Sheamus. And a couple months back, not even maybe a couple weeks back, I would have thought that The Shield would maybe have a triple threat match. Every single member of The Shield facing off against each other, maybe for Dean Ambrose United States Championship, because it looked like The Shield was going to break up. They were having some problems, mainly Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose arguing all the time. You had Reigns accidentally spearing Dean Ambrose trying to eliminate Reigns from the Rumble, and then Reigns eliminating both Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. Throughout this whole time, Seth Rollins was playing the peacekeeper. He was separating them every single time, calming them down, and then eventually, when they take on the Wyatt family, Seth Rollins decides to, has enough and just leaves Dean Ambrose and Reigns to the Wyatt family, and of course the Wyatt family pick up the victory. And by the way, that moment was pretty surprising, seeing as how I think a lot of us thought if somebody was going to turn on the Shield, somebody was going to ditch the Shield, it was going to be Dean Ambrose. And an example of that kind of was at the Elimination Chamber when Seth Rollins, Reigns, and Dean Ambrose fought the Wyatt family for the first time. Dean Ambrose fought Bray Wyatt into the crowd, and then all of a sudden he disappeared, and then we didn't see Dean Ambrose for the rest of the match. And then on Raw, Seth Rollins and Reigns were asking Ambrose, what happened, and Ambrose was trying to explain to them, or was telling them he was tired of explaining, and that if they don't trust him, then he's leaving. At that point, I was like, alright, maybe this is building to a storyline where Dean Ambrose, just decided to ditch them. At the Elimination Chamber, he decided he had enough, or, maybe he made a partnership with the Wyatt family. Probably not, but, I was thinking just Dean Ambrose then reveals at some point that he ditched the Shield at the Elimination Chamber and decided not to come back. And then when Seth Rollins, of course, was the one to, get off the apron in that rematch, that was surprising. But anyways, what is this leading to? Bottom line, what I'm trying to say is, I would have not, seen this match coming a couple months back, or a month back or so. I would have thought, like I said, it would have been the Shield against each other. But I actually think this is a lot better, that the Shield is still a unit, that they're still a team, and now the Shield are faces. So the whole Seth Rollins ditching them thing led to them turning face, which I think was unexpected, because everybody, usually when things like that happen, when there's tension in a team, it leads to the team breaking up. And also seemed to be the case with the Real Americans. They looked like they were going to break up, but all of a sudden, they're on the same page, although the Real Americans are still heels. So it's going to be interesting to see, as far as the Real Americans goes, what happens with them. But as far as the Shield goes, I'm happy, that they're still a team now. And now we get to see the Shields as a face. So before the Shields actually break up, we could say that we saw the Shields as heels, and we've also seen them as faces. And with them still a team, there's so many more opportunities, especially now that they're faces. We could see another match between the Shield and the Wyatt family. I'm hoping we do get another rematch, maybe with the Shield this time getting the victory, getting some payback on the Wyatt family. And also, something else I thought of was, what if, since they're already doing the Shield versus the Authority thing, where now they're no longer listening to the Authority, or at least no longer listening to Kane, but Kane is also aligned with the Authority. He works for the Authority. He works for Triple H and Stephanie. And of course, in this match, he's teaming up with friends of Triple H and Stephanie in Dogg and Billy Gunn. I think it'd be pretty cool if sometime after WrestleMania, they have the Shield versus Batista, Randy, and Triple H. Basically the Shield versus Evolution. it would work perfectly since you've got the Shield 3 members, and you've got Evolution 3 members. Ric Flair is retired, but we've got Batista, Triple H, and Randy, and it just so happens that they're all heels right now, so it works out great. So I'd like to see that. And now we also get to see maybe the Shield back up Daniel Bryan against the Authority. So, you know, it's not just Daniel Bryan versus the Authority. It could be Daniel Bryan and the Shield versus like Triple H, Batista, Randy, or Triple H, Kane, and or you know, New Age Outlaws. Any sort of, you know, maybe New Age Outlaws and Randy, something like that. But anyways, let's talk about this match a bit. You know, I think just like the Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar match, maybe not to the same extent, but I think this match is almost as predictable as the Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar match. I don't think it's like 100%, you know, sure that one person, or in this case, one team wins. Like, you know, I'm 100% sure Taker wins against Brock Lesnar, but I do think it's a very slim chance that, you know, Kane and the New Age Outlaws win this one. Especially with this being the Shield's first kind of, I guess, rebellious move or rebellious match. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like their first match against the Authority. They've got to do good in their first attempt, you know, the first time they rebel against the Authority or against Kane specifically, and now they've got a match with him. And of course, you know, I think it's it has to lead to not just the Shield versus Kane, but it has to like evolve into the Shield versus, you know, the rest of the Authority, you know, the actual Authority, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. And I think for that to happen, they kind of need to get past Triple H's friends and Kane first. They've got to take out Kane and the Road Dogg, and then maybe, you know, Triple H, like I said, maybe at that point Triple H teams up with Batista and Randy to take on the Shields. Or actually, they could reunite the X. They could have the New Age Outlaws team up with Triple H versus the Shield. Can't believe I didn't think of that before, though. And for that to happen, you kind of need to have the Shields beat, you know, Kane and the New Age Outlaws first, and then move on to a bigger match. Because why would Triple H, you know, bother, I guess, involving himself in this feud against the Shields if Kane and the New Age Outlaws already took care of the Shield? And also, I don't see, you know, New Age Outlaws and Kane picking up the victory at WrestleMania, and then maybe the Shield gets a victory at like the Extreme Rules or something like that. It gets the victory in the rematch. If there is a rematch, I think the Shield's gonna win that too. And also, this is the Shield's it's their first big match as a face team. They've had a couple matches on Raw since turning face, but, you know, they haven't had a big match yet as a face. Their last big match, of course, was against the Wyatt family, and they were still heels at that point. Maybe you could consider them tweeners at that point, but, you know, bottom line, they weren't faces yet. So, you know, in their first big match as a face team at WrestleMania, I think they're winning this. Unless, of course, we get a surprise heel turn in the Shields, which would be odd considering they just turned face. But maybe we get actually the Shield breakup, or actually one of the members of the Shield, or maybe two, turn on the other, and then of course that could allow Kane and the New Age Outlaws to win the match. I think that would be the only situation where I could actually see Kane, Road Dogg, and Billy Gunn picking up the victory. But if that doesn't happen, so if like Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose don't turn on Reigns, or Dean Ambrose doesn't ditch the Shield or anything like that, then I definitely think the Shield is walking away with the victory. And also, prediction aside, or winner aside, something I'd like to see is I'd like to see Kane come out in his, you know, ring gear, his mask, and, you know, the Kane ring gear instead of the corporate Kane ring gear for WrestleMania, since it is, you know, the biggest show of the year. I'd love to see Kane come out with the mask, you know, raise his hands up, put them down, and the flames go up or the pyros go up. But, you know, since he is still Corporate Kane, I'm thinking he's still going to wear the Corporate Kane hat here at WrestleMania. But anyways, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can click that like button. And with that said, I'm out, guys. See ya.